Welcome to the Superhero of Love podcast. I am Bridget Fonger, and I wrote a book called Superhero of Love, Heal Your Broken Heart, and Then Go Save the World. My book is all about helping people love and be loved more than ever. I believe we all have a superhero of love inside of us. Yes, even you, superhero. And in this podcast, I talk to people who are all about helping us all tap into that superhero. May this episode make a difference for your heart. Let's get this party started. Welcome, superheroes. I am going to keep this very brief today, and we don't have a special guest because I'm actually on a little bit of a retreat. So I'm stepping out of my little teeny tiny retreat to just share something that was inspired by this last weekend on February 15th, which actually happens to be the birthday of my dear father, who passed away in 2009, but his birthday was February 15th, as was my dear grandma, my mother's mother. Her birthday was the same day. And on February 15th of 2020, we honored my beloved friend Adelaide, who passed away at 101 in November, and we had her memorial, which was basically everybody was saying it was their favorite memorial that they've ever been to. It was so full of love and joy, laughter and tears, and everyone's heart was filled up to the brim with memories and love and honoring of this great, great human being that we knew, Adelaide Hixon. And Adelaide, I've mentioned a few times in this podcast before because she was a huge influence in my life from the time that I was 11 years old. We weren't in constant contact since I was 11 years old, but we were in very, very good contact in the last several years of her life. And I knew her throughout my life since I was 11. And when I was 11, I was kind of obsessed with butterflies. And Adelaide, when I met her, one of my best friend's grandmothers, she too was clearly obsessed by butterflies because there were butterflies everywhere in her houses. So I loved her immediately. And another person that she and I shared, besides her granddaughter and her other grandchildren and family members that I've met over the years, that I've been blessed to meet over the years, she has an amazing family, is Ed Bacon, who I've also had on this podcast, who was the rector at All Saints Church for over 20 years, Reverend Ed Bacon. And he wrote the book called 8 Habits of Love. Overcome Fear and Transform Your Life, which is a great book if you haven't picked it up. And if you are inspired by what I'm about to say about Ed Bacon, go and find the podcast that I did, the interview that I did with him. And coming soon is going to be a podcast, actually. If you're a big fan of Ed Bacon, you'll be happy to hear that I'm going to be interviewing him and his wife, Hope, who have just celebrated their 49th anniversary. Unbelievable. And they act like they just met. It's so cute. Anyway, Reverend Ed Bacon was the rector at All Saints Church, and that in Pasadena, and that was Adelaide's church. And so they were dear friends during that time that he lived in Pasadena and was the rector at the church. But they were even more dear friends than I ever knew. As he said when he gave the homily at the memorial on Saturday, he said, besides his family, his deepest soul connection was with Adelaide. And he shared something that they did together that I found so incredibly inspiring as an expression of love. And I just feel like the more inspiring expressions of love that we can find and try out on each other, the better. So this is an expression of love that I have never heard of before that made me start crying because I was so moved. He said that Adelaide would write him something, and the first time they did this practice, it became a practice, was with a Ram Dass quote. She would handwrite on a card a quote, and this was the first one that she did, and this was the first one of this Ram Dass quote. I honor the place in you where the universe resides. I honor the place in you of love, of light, of truth, of peace. I honor the place within you where if you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, there is only one of us. So that's the quote that Adelaide hand wrote on a card and put it in the snail mail and sent it off to Ed Bacon. And he received it. And he really received it. Because in response to receiving that and taking it in, he pulled out his own card and pen and hand wrote the exact same quote. I honor the place in you where the entire universe resides. I honor the place in you of love, of light, of truth, of peace. I honor the place within you where, if you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, there is only one of us. I feel like I can't say that quote enough for myself, so I hope you appreciated me repeating it. So he wrote those exact words on his card, put them in an envelope, put a stamp on it, addressed it to Adelaide, sent it off in snail mail, and she received it. And I had this image, I was in meditation last night, and I had this image that it's like she sent him a butterfly, and he captured the butterfly for a minute in his hand, received the beauty of that butterfly, and then sent the butterfly back to her, almost like a carrier pigeon, a carrier butterfly of his love. And I thought this would be such an amazing practice, and I'm going to start doing it as soon as I get back home, back to my cards and my envelopes and my stamps and my pens. And I'm going to start doing this, and I'm going to put in the podcast notes a template that you too can use if you would like to start doing this practice. And it'll be a page that you can download if you wish to, and write a quote or a line. It could even just be, as speaking of Ram Dass, it could be as simple as "be here now," sending it off to somebody, and then you request them to send it back to you in their own handwriting, and you invite them to write a separate one of their own that they're inspired to have you receive, ingest, send back to them. So I'm calling this the butterfly love effect, because I think this would just be so fun to be happening out in the world. There's something about, I have this high energy, and when people are talking to me, they're often trying to get me to be more still, and even at this age, it seems like I just have this kind of youthful, sometimes frenetic energy, and sometimes people want more of my attention. They want me to be here now. Again, back to Ram Dass. Be more here now. And which is fair and which is good, and I think it's important, and it's good that people remind me of that, especially, obviously, dear friends. So I'm always trying to up my listening skills and my being present skills. But there's something, and obviously I think we all feel more loved when the person is fully present, I always feel the most loved. Like Ed Bacon is somebody that can make everyone feel very, very loved because he's fully present with you, receiving everything that you're saying, engaged. And, that's how you feel so loved when somebody's taking care of your heart by listening to you and being with you, fully present. So this example of this butterfly love effect that was initiated by Ed in responding to Adelaide's card, it feels like it's truly taking in, truly listening, imbibing what the other person is bestowing upon you, taking it in, ingesting it, and then expressing it in your own way. I don't know, it's just very much touched my heart to hear this. And I want to just see if maybe other people out there are interested in making this a new practice, a fun new practice. So check out the podcast notes on superherooflove.podbean.com. That's where the podcast originates. Again, superherooflove.podbean, podbean.com is where the podcast originates, and where you'll see all the full podcast notes there. If you go there, I will upload this little template that you can handwrite on, or rewrite it in your own writing, whatever you want to do. So here's to the butterfly love effect, spreading around the world quietly. It's not a competition. Only you and the person who receives and sends back to you know about this, right? It's not a chain letter. It's just this beautiful, secret little thing. You don't have to keep it secret, though, if you don't want to. You can tag me on Instagram, tag Butterfly Love Effect on Instagram or any social media. That would be fun. And I'm going to close out this little mini episode with another quote from Ram Dass, which is also from Be Here Now, which is where that other quote was from, by the way, Be Here Now. One of his most famous books, I would think his most famous book. So this is a great quote. It's only when caterpillarness is done that one becomes a butterfly. That again is part of this paradox. You cannot rip away caterpillarness. The whole trip occurs in an unfolding process of which we have no control. I love that. It's only when caterpillarness is done that one becomes a butterfly. So I'm going to go back to my caterpillarness, my little meditation retreat, where I am working on growing my wings, becoming a butterfly. And I wish you all a wonderful week. I wish you much love. And I hope you're inspired to start the Butterfly Love Effect with me. And if you like this podcast, please go rate and review it. Tell your friends about it. When you subscribe to the podcast or rate or review it, it helps bring more superheroes of love into the fold, which is what it's all about. And if you know somebody whose heart is aching because of a divorce or a breakup of any kind or a loss, please tell them about my book, Superhero of Love, Heal Your Broken Heart, and then go save the world. I'd appreciate it. Okay? Here's to love.